Now I am going to be working for the sleeves, so I'm making the extra large size as I've already told you. My beds are in half pitch, and then I will have 0 on both dials so I can make my zigzag row, and I will need to cast on 26 stitches both beds. So I will have 13 on the main bed, 13, and I will bring up the corresponding needles on the Ribber bed as well. I will make the casting on the zigzag row first. Just going to be placing the comb. So I will be placing my weights. And then I will make those 3 circular rows. So pressing part button, left part button and right part lever, and go for the 3 rows. 1, 2, 3. And then, as I did for the back, I will go up for the ribber tension that I want, for the ribbing tension. And I will make the cuff for 9 rows, so I will make 9 rows of ribbing as I did for the other parts as well. And 9. Now everything is the same as I did for the back and the front. I will have to get ready for the pattern knitting, and in order to do that I will just transfer 1 stitch onto the next on the Ribber bed. Then I'm going to set my dial to the main tension. Press the cosy button, switch it to cosy so I can engage the pattern. Have the pattern in your position. And then knit from left to right to select the needles. Now I can always put that up, press those tuck buttons in, and reset my row counter to 0. And I can start working for the sleeve. So my pattern says that I will need to knit 5 rows of pattern and then increase 1 stitch both ends 22 times. So I will have to make that up to row counter 110. So it's quite easy. I'm just going to work you through the process of increasing, because this is a bit confusing as well because of the number of the stitches that we have. So I'm going to knit 5 rows. And now I will have to make 1 increase. And as you can see, To make an increase now, the settings are 2 by 1, as you already know, since we uh, connected those front parts with the back, and I've already explained how it works. Now, increasing, they will be made on the bed that they will need to work. So at this point, I will have to make my first increase on the main bed, because I have the last stitch here, and I will need one stitch more both ways. So I don't need that stitch now, I will need that stitch. So in order to get the right pattern, I will have to increase the stitches as they come. So this time I will have to increase on the main bed, and when you have a tuck, you will want to knit that stitch through, and then grab this bum here and place it on the next needle. I'm not gonna make a fully fashion decrease, because increase this pattern won't allow it. So I'm just going to grab that bum from the last stitch and place it on the needle next to it. So at a point you will have 2 stitches on the main bed. Just push that up so it will work, and knit 5 rows. Now the next needle, it's supposed to come on the ribber bed, so this is why I'm just going to grab this bum from the main bed. Okay. And place it on the needle that it's supposed to be in work, and I will make the same thing on the other side as well. So this time I had my increase made on the ribber bed. Now I am going to work another 5 rows, and 5. And now again it's time to make another increase on the main bed, and you will see that you will have to make 2 increases on the main bed and 1 on the ribber bed. So I will make this last the next increase on the main bed, like so. And work another 5 rows. And another increase, and I will just repeat that up to the row counter 110, and I will meet you then. So to say that one more time, the increases will be made twice on the main bed and once on the ribber bed as they come. So if you need a stitch on the main bed, you will increase it on the main bed, and then you will see that the next stitch is supposed to be on the ribber bed, so you will increase it there. So this is how we make the increases, and make sure that you will place the weights when they are needed, because you really want those increases to be knit. I'm using those thingies for the sides and just move them up when I need it. Okay, and I will be working up to row counter 110, and then I will come back to show you how to take it off and anything else that I need to tell you about. Now I've reached the row counter 110. That means that I finished with knitting my sleeve. The last thing that I want to do is to knit one normal row, so I have all the stitches knitted. So I will disengage the pattern and go from right to left this time on my last row. Now I have all my sleeve knitted, and now for me it's time to take it off on the waist yarn again. And as I did for the back, I will just put the yarn aside. I'm not going to cut it, and put the waist yarn in and knit several rows. At this point, what I want to do is to drop my ribber down, like so, and then as you can see, I had 26 stitches on the ribber bed in work, so I will have to place them on the main bed as I did for the back. My pattern says that I should rehang it on 84 stitches in total. I want to attach it on the cardigan, so for that I'm just going to rehang this as I did for the back. So facing me, I will place it on the needles that I've already put out. I had my pearl first because I finished with one needle on the main bed, and then I will have one knit, and I will just start with my 2 pearls and 1 knit. I'm just going to rehang that piece. Now at this point I have my sleeve rehanged on all the number of needles that it required, so I will just push them forward like so, and then I will grab my main piece, the back and the front, and with the wrong side facing me this time, I'm just gonna rehang it. I'm just going to place it on the last stitch here, and then the last stitch here, and then I will go in the middle and I will just attach it there, one side on one and one side on the other. I'm just going to start placing it on the needles. So I'm just going to rehang it all the way up, and make sure that you grab both V's when you place them on the needle, And as far as I know, it will go each V for one needle, and it will give you a nice equal seam. Now what I like to do, I'm just going to push this close to the gateways like so, and as I've done for the back, I'm just going to weave in those tails because I don't like to have too much to work when I finish. And at this point I will thread the machine. I'm just going to work at the main tension one row. It will be better if you change the sinker plate. That way you will make sure that it will actually knit this row. I'm just going to go slow, very slow, so I make sure that it will knit. Now you can see that I have all the stitches knitted nicely, and now I can just go ahead and hand knit the last row so I can latch it through. Now I have finished. I will just leave a longer tail this time because I can use it to sew down the sleeve. So at this point the sleeve is connected to the main piece and it just comes out nicely. And it has a nice elasticity and a good drape. This is my main piece and this is the sleeve connected on it already. So what I have to do now is to go ahead and sew this on the side. The other sleeve, it will come exactly as this one, so you can start and make the other sleeve and then connect it to the other side of the cardigan. And we will make the pockets and sew them on, and that's the cardigan made. I hope you enjoyed it by now. I'll come to you with the pocket and to show you how I connect the pocket on the cardigan. I quite like those colors, so bright, and yeah. Now to make the pocket, I have already made my zigzag row. So I've cast on for 18 stitches on the main bed and the corresponding needles on the ribber bed, and I will make exactly the same process as I've done for each and every piece, so the full rib cast on. Then I'm going to make 3 circular rows in tension 0, 2 and 3. Set my carriages to tension 5 and knit 3 rows of ribbing. That's all I need for the pocket. So 1, 2 and 3. And then what I want to do is to set my carriages for the pattern, because I want to have the same pattern as for the main piece. All done. Then I'm going to go up to the main tension with both carriages. Set my KC to engage the pattern. Knit 1 row. Press the top buttons in, engage the pattern, and put the row counter to 0. And now I will have to knit, let's say, 48 rows. So I will just start knitting 48 rows. I have 48 rows made. Now what I want to do is to disengage those the patterns and make one row to knit all the stitches. And next I'm just going to take this on waste yarn as well. Now I have my pocket on waste yarn. There are several options to put the pocket on the main piece. You can just go ahead and sew stitch by stitch, or you can just at this point you can cast off all those stitches and then sew it, attach this on the main piece as you want. My way of doing it is a bit different. So I'm just going to attach it on my machine in the middle of the front side, starting on the first row of the pattern. You can sew it there using a needle, yarn needle, or you can just watch me doing it and do it like I am. So I'm just going to find the main piece here, and what I am going to do with the main piece facing me, I haven't sewn it yet. I like to sew at the end everything. So I'm just going to put this this way, and I'm just going to rehang this piece in the first row on 27 stitches, because that's how many stitches I have for my pocket. So I'm just going to rehang the middle of this piece as they come, and you will see that it's quite easy to rehang it because you will have 2 purls and 1 stitch. So exactly in that row where those stitches come together and you will have only 1, this is the one that you will have to put on the machine, and then the next 2 purl stitches, 1 knit and 2 purl. This is how I will rehang this piece on the machine. So I'm just going to be starting with not too much talking. So I will need to have 27 stitches. That means from 14 to 13. So like so, it doesn't matter which way. And I'm just gonna start with a purl stitch just next to the to the second ridge that I have here. So this is how I do it. I'm just gonna place that first stitch there, and then the next purl, and then I will have the third stitch, which is a knit one, and then I will just go like that all those 27 stitches that I have. And my last knit stitch here. That's how it comes. Now I'm just gonna push this back, and I will grab the pocket, and I will attach it on those needles with the wrong side facing me. So when it will fold, it will come out with the right side facing, which is quite what I want. Here I have it all rehanged, and I will keep those in front of the hooks, in front of the latches. Take the waste yarn off, and then I'm just gonna pull down a bit so I can actually knit those stitches through, like so. And now I do have it attached on the main piece, and then I'm just going to hand knit those stitches, and I will do that pretty loose because I want to have the right elasticity for these pockets, and I don't want to pull I don't want it to pull the work. So I'm just going to knit those loosely. And just leave a bit of a tail so I can sew it up. Just secure that yarn there. And as you can see, when I fold it back, the pocket, it will come nicely. and it won't be seen. So it's quite a good way for me to do it. Now the next thing that I want is to go up and sew this piece together. So and now to sew this piece up, I know that I've made 48 rows for my pocket, and if you look at the wrong side of the work, you will find out that those 48 rows that you made, actually you can count them as 24 because it was stuck. So each of this V on the back, it counts as for 2 rows. So that's why, because I want that to be straight, I'm just gonna go on the front here. I'm just gonna count up 24 stitches. And in my 25th I will place a stitch marker, so I know where my sewing will end, and I will do exactly the same thing on the other side as well. So this way I can make sure that I have this straight. This is one side of the pocket already attached, and I'm just going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. And then I will do exactly the same thing with the other pocket. After all that it will be done, I will just go ahead and sew the sides together and the sleeve, and go straight down, and this is all actually.